The Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, comes from the Latin words arms, armour, and sistere, to stand still. It is effectively a ceasefire, and it followed the ceasefire of the Ottomans, the Bulgarians, and the Austria-Hungarian ceasefire on the 4th of November. This one took place on the 11th of November at the 11th hour, and it led to the signing of the Versailles Treaty in 1918, a treaty that was the result of negotiations commented upon by John Maynard Keynes, the economic consequences of the peace. He wasn't very positive about that peace treaty, which favoured the Allies and penalised the Germans, and that he predicted would lead to further war. He was right. I think since 1945 there's been only 1 year when British service people have not died, and so that ongoing recognition, that ongoing commemoration is important. Every dining table has its empty chair, said Churchill. It's a sombre occasion, the celebration, the commemoration of the armistice on Remembrance Sunday, that's transferred from the 11th to the nearest Sunday from 1939 onwards. But some people remember both days. Some people remember the Armistice Day, which was commemorated yesterday in Whitehall at the Cenotaph, the empty tomb designed by Lutyens. And some people follow the national mourning, the national celebration, the national commemoration on the Sunday at the 11th hour, where there's a 2-minute silence presaged by a gunshot from Horse Guards Parade, and ending with the bugle at the end of 2 minutes. And the king will lay a wreath. Members of the royal family will lay wreaths. The dignitaries from the Commonwealth will lay wreaths to remember the fallen. The poppy, of course, is a commemoration of in Flanders Fields. I think who wrote that? McCrae. And the Earl Haig Fund, which is written on the back of the poppy, to raise money for widows, for orphans, for the care of soldiers, and it performs an important part of our national life, to remember those who have given their lives, to remember those who are in the armed forces, to remember the extraordinary attacks on civilians during the First and Second World Wars, and hereafter. So it's a time to think of the sacrifices people made, but also to think of the peace that was desired and that has been kept for 70 years, for 80 years, 85 years. The last person from the First World War died. He was 111 years old, I think, in 2009. So that link has been broken. But the commemoration at the Cenotaph keeps that link alive, as indeed the unknown soldier buried in Westminster Abbey and in other countries, in France, in Moscow, in Russia. The anonymity of their death is also a focal point for the anonymity of so many people who die in conflict, and it's brought home to us today with the conflict in Palestine, the Israeli-Gaza conflict, with the conflict in Yemen, the ongoing problems in Libya, in Lebanon, in Syria, and of course the invasion of Ukraine by Putin. So it's not a time to forget, it's a time to remember, and that is what's happening today at 11 o'clock in a few minutes, really. To remember those who have fallen, to remember those who are engaged in military activity, to remember the many, many civilians who are caught in the battle.